If you're thinking about moving to Ocean City, New Jersey full time, make sure you stick around. You're going to want to see every detail that I'm going to share with you here today. I know I've covered this in the past, and I will link some videos down in the description that could help, but I polled over 60 people who have moved here recently within the past 3 years to get an understanding of exactly what they would do differently and what they wish they knew the first time. So without further ado, let's dive right in. There were 5 big topics that came up, none of which were a huge surprise to me, having moved back here myself after growing up here just over 3 years ago at this point. But we're going to work backwards from the 5th most mentioned all the way down to number 1. So starting with number 5. Several people wish that they had a better understanding and a better feel for what the off-season was like here in Ocean City. It is not a hustling, bustling metropolitan area, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. It's generally a quaint seaside resort, and roughly 7 to 8 months out of the year, it is definitely on the quiet side, with the summer months being full tilt, action-packed, and a much different picture than you're going to get, especially deep in the off-season in the middle of winter. Those individuals recommended that you spend some time here in the off-season. Come down in December for some of the parades. Come down in February or March when there's not a whole lot going on and a lot of restaurants are closed, so that you know exactly what you're getting into before you make your purchase. Number 4, we have knowing the different property types and the pros and the cons. A lot of people highly recommended that if you have the opportunity, you buy a single family home instead of a condo or a duplex, top and bottom or side to side, which is what the majority of the properties are here in town. While I could go very deep on this topic, I did cover that in the past thoroughly here in this link above. So make sure you come back and click on that one to check out if you want to know exactly what the pros and cons are of each property type. Coming in at number 3, we have knowing the different areas in town. So even though the island is only about 1.5 miles wide and about 7 miles long, there are a lot of different pockets that will fit your needs depending on what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for a neighborhood feel, most like the suburbs that you would get in the majority of the rest of the state, then there are certain areas that would be a better fit. If you would rather be right in the middle of the hustle and the bustle for 3 months out of the year during the summertime and are okay with it being a relative ghost town, as one person put it, for the rest of the year, then other areas would be the right choice for you. So again, there is another video linked here where I go into each of the different areas in depth to give you a better sense of exactly what you can expect. And on that note, I want to make it clear that my goal is always to help people buy in the right area and make the right decision the first time around. And why I'm putting this video out and all of the others is to make sure that you can make the most informed decision possible the first time. While a lot of people do upgrade or change their situation roughly every 3 to 5 years here on the island, I'd prefer if you could get it right the first time. It will save you a whole lot of headache, a whole lot of money, and it's going to be the best thing for you. So if you want to stay closely attuned to everything that we're doing here, make sure you hit the like button down below as well as subscribe, because I put out at least one video each and every week, and I want you to be the first to know everything that's coming. At number 2, we have the flooding situation. Now, to some people who haven't been coming to Ocean City for too long, the flooding situations can be quite scary. The first time you see water in the streets, on the corners, you have to take a different route than you're used to. It can be a jarring experience. To those of us who have been here for decades, it is part of life. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't areas that rarely flood, because there are. The island has different elevation points. So depending on your comfort level, whether you're okay paying a lower price to be in an area where you're going to have to move your car sometimes, or if you'd rather not deal with it whatsoever and you're willing to pay top dollar for the best possible location, you have choices. But what you need to know is that there is a way to visualize this. A lot of people go off of anecdotes and, well, I think it's a good area or it's a bad area for flooding. It's very, very subjective, and there's no data behind that. So in this video above, I know I'm linking a lot, but there's a lot of good information here. You can walk through exactly what area you're curious about, or just look at the island as a whole, and you can see exactly what floods would look like under different scenarios. So check that video out. It'll walk you through how to do it. Obviously, I am here and I'm happy to do that for you if you're looking at a particular property. But flooding is important that you are at least aware of what you can expect. And without further ado, the number one thing that these 60 plus people wanted you to know before you buy is to make sure you have ample off-street parking and storage. when summertime comes around, you will be fighting with thousands, tens of thousands, possibly 100,000+ other people for parking spots. As the island's been developed, and even before that, parking is tight. So it becomes incredibly important, especially if you have a larger family, if you like to have friends and family down during the summer, that you don't have to stress about reserving a parking spot and parking and playing parking lot valet, as I like to call it, and you have plenty of room, plenty of space, not just for people to park, but also for bikes, for beach gear, for everything that you want to have to make the most out of your time here. Because this is a getaway for most people. This is an escape from the real world. And you want to have all of the toys that you like at your disposal and not have to really trim down and start to rent or shuffle through them. You want to have your pick of the litter. So parking is incredibly important, as is storage. And honestly, I feel like since COVID hit, any property that has a garage has gone way up in value compared to those that don't, that only have a little storage closet or none whatsoever. That has become a huge hit. So if that's important to you, make sure that you're paying attention to that when you're looking at properties, and ask your agent to screen those ahead of time so that you know what you're getting into. That wraps up the 5 top things that you need to know that others wish they knew before they bought. And hopefully you learned something here. Hopefully you're able to put that into play to help you make the best possible decision. If you have any questions or have any other things that you think people should know, do me a favor and drop them down in the comments so that you can get the word out there and help people make the best possible decision. Thank you for spending time with me as always, and I will see you on the next one.